Hello, how are you?
So are you from around here? Or?
Yeah, I was raised here actually.
You were raised here, you were raised in Scientology?
Yeah.
Ah. What made you leave?
There's a lot of things. First thing was that they separated me from my father when I was 15.
Did he try to leave?
No, he did something that they didn't consider was right, so they kicked him out. And then my mom died when I was 16, so they like handed me over to guardians within their church.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then when I was 18, they separated me from my husband. And I was like, fuck this, I'm out, you know. But then it took me until I was 20 to actually get out.
Your husband was in Scientology as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys got married pretty young, I guess.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's rules about that. You can't get, you can't have sexual relations until you're married.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Yeah, they'll, except unless you're a celebrity.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's mainly for, like, for staff, that rule. You know, like, if you're, like, a Scientologist, like Tom Cruise or whatever, like, they don't care.
Yeah.
You know, you can do whatever he wants.
Were you, so you were under the guardians, you weren't a member of Sea Org, were you?
I was, actually. I joined when I was 13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to school anymore. They have, they say you can only go to school 1 day a week now. So I never got a high school diploma when I was in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
yeah.
I left when I was 20 and had no, real schooling or anything.
Did you, how high did you get on the ladder?
Well, I actually didn't. Like, staff are considered, like, less important than, like, the Scientologists. So they get, like, the last dibs on, like, who actually gets, services.
Yeah.
You know, so they pretty much just have to deliver it to people. And they have, like, people who, like, do folders and run folders. They have, like, all sorts of little jobs that you can do. But staff pretty much don't get a lot of it. The Scientologists who pay a lot of money do. Mm-hmm. So I didn't get very far.
But you didn't even get to clear?
No, no.
That's why they moved here, actually.
Why?
Because it is Clear in the name of the town.
Clearwater.
I'm serious. No, I'm serious. Like it was one of the ways Hubbard, because he had this whole thing with because Scientology, it works like a really elaborate science fiction novel, because later on you find out the real motivations for what's going on in the beginning. Like once you find out about body thetans, you discover that's what you've been auditing all along, and it's this constantly like.
And it's all hidden from you.
Like why is the volcano on the cover of Dianetics? And later on you find out what the volcano is about. You're like, oh, it was there at the beginning.
I found out about all that now, and I think it's hokey, but I think if you go through it and the gradient they do, and they keep it so secret, and then no one can talk about it, and so you're like, you can't like talk to anybody about it, I think
the reason they keep it secret is so that nobody will, because if everybody knew,
if
like,
you had an opinion about it, you'd leave.
Well, it's just that like all you ever hear from the public relations people is pre-clear stuff. Like all you hear is what the pre-clears know, and that's it. Just what the pre-clears know. And then, so I think that if people actually knew about the upper levels and like the whole bait and switch scam, where like all of your problems are due to engrams,
right?
And then all your problems are due to engrams from previous lives, and then all your problems are due to the programming by Xenu, and then all your problems are because these evil things called body thetans that live everywhere. It's just a bait and switch scam.
And it's funny because like a lot of these staff out here today who are protesting don't even know those ideas because they're not at that level.
Yeah, which is why there's not very many of them out there today.
Or they just don't understand why we're protesting, But
yeah.
like, I wish we could say more things like, do you want a vacation? Or, just things that like, really, that they could understand because they have no idea of like the higher stuff. They're, they don't get that kind of, they're not that important because they don't pay money, you know what I mean? So,
that's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read the life story of this woman that was like a class 4 auditor who spent most of her life auditing, where she had her own celebrity little center in like San Jose or something. And she joined Sea Org, she came here to Clearwater, and they had guaranteed her that she would have, really nice facilities to do auditing and all sorts of stuff, and she just got crap. Like, she got absolutely no service. Yeah. At that point, she'd sold all her business and given all her money to Scientology.
Yeah, I met a couple, they had paid $500,000, their life savings to it, and then they got kicked out.
Wow.
So, and they don't know what to do, like if they speak out about it, they'll be harassed, or they'll, this and that, they'll, they have to go against their lawyers in court to try to get their money back. And
why do you think people join?
I don't know. My parents were in the hippie days when they joined. They were getting off drugs, and to them it was cool because it like helped them get off drugs. And then they got sucked up into the Sea Org, and their life's pretty much like totally controlled.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're like, maybe it's because people like to have their lives controlled. I don't know. I don't.
I don't know. I have a friend who joined a cult. To a certain degree, he needs to have his life controlled.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he's out now, and he's not doing a very good job of managing it.
But there's a lot of people who grew up in it like I did, who have no idea of what's outside. And that's wrong, I think,
Have you seen Battlefield Earth?
No, I never watched it, actually. When I got out, I started, first I hated it altogether, and then I said, well, there's some good things and there's some bad things, and then, I'm just to the point where it's like, well, why can't people talk out? Why can't they at least speak and debate why it works or why it doesn't work? Mm-hmm. Why can't they do that? And that's because they don't want people to know. Or
if it's not broken, don't fix it.
What aspects of it do you think work?
I don't know. It's just like general logic is how I see it. Like, okay, don't beat your children. Good, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But, I can do without that. I know that, So, I don't know. There's just some basic truths in there. But any human being can figure that out for themselves.
Probably just universal truths that you can find.
Yeah, and then, they say communication is the universal solvent. And here they are, not talking to anybody out here today.
Yeah.
So they're hypocrites in a lot of ways.
Well, their communication courses teach you how to not communicate.
They want solved.
They make you stare at each other for hours.
They're trolling classes.
Well, I was working off what you say there. They don't want anything fixed, so there's nothing broken. There's nothing to talk about.
Exactly. That's how they think. They think everything is fine. Why do we need to talk to you?
I've been hearing all day that they're like locked inside Fort Harrison and like they're not allowed to come out today.
Yeah, I mean when I was getting protested on, when I was in there in 1998, 1999, they brought food to us. They didn't let us come out the whole day.
Wow.
They didn't want us to go outside. So I guarantee you they're in one of these buildings and they're bringing food to them with these buses and stuff.
What do you think about it seems to be really common for people after they leave Scientology to commit suicide on and around L. Ron Hubbard's birthday?
Oh wow, that's a heavy subject. I think it's because your belief system is that anybody outside of it is so bad that you actually believe when you disagree with it, you are that bad person. You are equivalent to Hitler or the devil if you speak out against it. And you are in their eyes too. Mm-hmm. So if you truly believe that you're a bad person, what do you think you're going to do? You know what I mean? Like,
but why L. Ron Hubbard's? I've read so many accounts of Scientologists that have died or murdered other people, and it always seems to take place within about 2 weeks of L. Ron Hubbard's birthday every year.
I don't know.
I'm talking like 70% of Scientology suicides happen exactly at that time of year.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what that is.
About his birthday or anything? Like,
well, they do, harass you to buy more books and stuff when they have events.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it's their guilt.
They're like, oh, I can't buy a course now. Now they're gonna, dislike me for this or that. I don't know.
Have you been to any of the big events that?
Yeah, they're all over the internet too.
Yeah. So you were at some of them, like I don't know, what are the ones that are out now? There's the 2007 New Year's celebration.
Right.
There's the 2004. There's the OT Summit from last year. That's out.
Well, all the staff are required to go to every event.
Okay.
Or at least to watch it. So.
Do you think, what I'm really hoping is that there's more Scientologists with videos that are going to put them out on the net? Because there must be a lot of DVDs.
What I really want is someone to get in there and have a secret camera and actually join. That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
I think that's being worked on. Well, sex is a much better controlling, drugs are actually very unpredictable, whereas sex is a good one. And so if you notice most cults, they either are incredibly permissive or, like the Heaven's Gate people, they castrate themselves. Or like Scientology, where they get into your sex life with the e-meter and, they're...
I was,
like you're not even supposed to make noise.
Oh no, well, I was, I had to get off thoughts about masturbation all the time. Like, I was scared to think thoughts about masturbation.
So did your mother do a silent birth with you?
Because they'll keep, I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
Yeah, because they put you on the lie detector, you have to talk about it every time to some person. Oh, and you're like, I don't want to have to tell you about, this, every time. So you're, scared to do, think thoughts.
How often do you go through that audit?
It could be a weekly thing or a daily thing, depending on how often they think you need it.
Really?
Yeah.
Daily?
Yeah.
Wow. Now, how often did you ever, go to them and confess?
Oh, once a week we had to be put on the e-meter to see if we had if our needle was dirty or clean. Clean means that everything's okay, dirty means you're hiding something. So, once a week, they put you on the e-meter. I'm sure they still do it. They were doing it 5 years ago.
But did you ever do anything, let's say, for instance, you masturbated? Would you go and tell them, confess?
Yeah, I would.